Ladies and gentlemen, I welcome you to a special episode of A Soldier Speaks English. I'm Adil Raja and I'm joined today by Craig Murray. Craig Murray does not need any introduction. He is a historian, a famous journalist, a dissident, and a human rights activist. He's joining us from Venezuela today. And we've also got Matt O'Brien with us. And Matt is joining us from Bristol. And Matt is a citizen journalist and an activist. I welcome my esteemed guest. Thank you for joining in this program, which is about Imran Khan, and obviously, and I would like to start with Craig Murray. After welcoming him, I would straight away jump to the first question. Craig, you made a very interesting yet contentious statement recently, which is viral on Pakistani social media at least. You said that never forget that a major factor in Zionism being able to dominate the world has been the imprisonment of Imran Khan. Hashtag release Imran Khan. You made this statement on the February of 18th, 2026. Craig, welcome to the show. And how would you explain this statement, please?
Well, I think one of the things which we have seen with the genocide in Gaza and the expansion towards Greater Israel is that there's a severe lack of moral leadership in the Muslim world. The Muslims of the world are a very powerful force. There are very many of them. Many Muslim countries are extremely wealthy. Many of them are militarily powerful. Almost none of them are prepared to stand up to the Israelis, stand up to genocide. And that's because they have, unfortunately, that they have corrupt leaderships. And very often they have leaderships which are not popular with their own populations and which are dependent on the United States and on the Israelis for their own security to keep the leadership in power. So they are unquestioning supporters of the United States and of Israel, not the people, but the leaderships of those countries. And this is where Imran Khan is different. There is no doubting at all that Imran is a staunch anti-imperialist. And he could provide the moral and inspirational leadership, not just to Pakistanis, but to millions and millions of Muslims all around the world. And that's why he was a danger. That's why he has had to be incarcerated.
Craig, does that not make Imran Khan a serious threat to the monarchies of the Muslim world and the dictatorship of the Muslim world and those who are backing the dictatorship either in Washington, D.C. or also in London? What do you have to say about that?
I think that's absolutely right. I think he is a danger to the dictatorships of the world, and particularly dictatorships in Muslim countries, because he shows what proper Muslim leadership can be, which is actually attuned with the wishes of its people, attuned with popular demands, and prepared to stand up to the United States. And of course, we recall when he very first came to power, one of his very first actions was to stop the United States using drones from inside Pakistan to attack and kill Muslims. He showed immediately a preparedness to actually confront the Americans and actually stop doing what they were told, because previous Pakistani governments, unfortunately, and to a very large extent the current Pakistani government, have been slavish servants of the Americans.
Yeah, you're right about that. And like the present imposed prime minister, I would say, after a rigged election, went to Washington, D.C. in the so-called Board of Peace. And he was rightly called by George Galloway as the shoe shine boy because he was shining the shoes of President Trump. And that was really embarrassing for the Pakistanis. Moving to Matt O'Brien. Matt, you are planning a street movement in the UK for the freedom of Imran Khan. What is all that about? What are you doing?
Yes, thank you. And I really value what Craig has said there, that tweet. It's true. And that's one of the reasons I stood with Imran, not just because he's the most popular leader in a democratic country in prison, which is very worrying, but also he has been a principled leader for global issues like Palestine, like Assange, which Craig and I both did a lot of work for. And so, yeah, it is. And when we say they're a threat to the US, he's not a threat. He's simply a threat to their nefarious activities. You know, he wants a multipolar free world, I believe. And that's what we all want. So, and as far as what we're doing, yes, we're planning this weekend to begin some street activations. I've already had some great responses for the I Stand With Imran campaign, the patch and the eye covering, and showing solidarity that really what you're doing to Imran, you are doing to the people of Pakistan and really the broader world, you know, as Craig's pointing out, for those who are against imperialism. So this is a way to engage people on the street, doing something somewhat fun. You know, we're going to have some cricket challenges. Cover your eye, you know, wear this eye patch and see if you can catch this ball or go to bat. So we're going to have some street cricket as a way to, you know, sort of encourage people to come and then we can talk and encourage them to use. We're going to launch a TikTok filter as well, which will put an eye patch over your eye virtually so you can share your image easily, quickly, in a fun way, expressing solidarity. And it's just been wonderful to see, very moving to see the response that, you know, we launched this last week on your show, and just a lot of support from, you know, actress. We saw an actress, Mishi Khan, and we saw some journalists and even some young kids doing it. It really moved me. So I'm glad that I can do whatever I can to try to inspire some ideas and to see people take it up is wonderful. So we're going to continue. And if people want to join in Bristol or copy us, what we're doing around the world, that's great. You know, just putting ideas out there. And if people find them useful, please take it and run with it. And if you want to reach out and suggest things or join us in Bristol, we're going to have a website is launching today, istandwithimran.net. And so there we will continue to put resources and you can contact us. And we'll have the TikTok filter on there today as well. So go and check that out. That's istand, EYE, with Imran.net.
That's very interesting. But while it is going on, and while activism for the freedom of Imran Khan is, you know, it needs to continue, I'll come to Craig. Craig, there are fears and there are accusations that Imran Khan is allegedly being poisoned. He has been allegedly being given some sort of bacterial cultures so that he developed clots maybe, and his eye issue is definitely there. He needs to be hospitalized, but they're not letting him be hospitalized, irrespective of being a global icon, being an international statesman, being a Pakistani cricketing hero. He's not being afforded the health care which he rightly deserves. So there are fears that, and you also brought out something very serious, that if he's a threat to Zionism, then the biggest thing which we recently learned from the US ambassador to Israel's interview to Tucker Carlson is that he named in various countries wherever Islamic Brotherhood is, and President Morsi was killed under the similar circumstances as Imran Khan is right now. So do you think there is a plot wherein Imran Khan is to be made the next Morsi in the Muslim world?
Well, I think it's very, very likely, unfortunately. I was last in Pakistan 2 years ago, and I met with Imran's legal team in Lahore while I was there. And there'd been an attempt to assassinate his lawyer, I recall, shortly before that. So I think it's very likely. I mean, they would love a situation where they can claim he died of natural causes in jail. That would solve the problem for them. And I don't trust them at all. I think it's extremely likely. And we shouldn't forget, of course, that President Morsi was the only democratically elected leader that Egypt has ever had. And he was killed by the CIA. I have no doubt about that whatsoever. And the CIA, as usual, put one of their military men in power to replace him. And it's just extremely unfortunate that the people of Pakistan don't have the power to do anything about it, because I've no doubt the majority of people in Pakistan dearly wish for the release of Imran Khan. And it may be the only time in history that a political party which is banned and which was not allowed to organize still won an election in the last elections. And I have, so 2 years ago, I was in Pakistan, and we traveled from Lahore up right to Chitral in the far north. I'd previously been around Karachi and all through Sindh. And wherever you go in Pakistan, I find very, very solid support for Imran Khan among the ordinary people, the common people, and among the intellectual elite. It's really only this axis of military men, intelligence men, and some very wealthy, corrupt men are the only people who don't support it, as far as I can tell.
Yeah, you're right, Craig. And since you know Pakistan very well, I am forced to ask you this question: that Egypt, being survived Morsi's assassination, being an Arabic country, there is not a lot of ethnic divide, I believe, in Egypt, but Pakistan has got huge ethnic divides and fault lines in that context. Do you think Pakistan can survive, God forbid, the assassination of Imran Khan?
I think were Imran Khan to be assassinated, there definitely is going to be a great deal of violence. I don't see a fault line along the Baloch independence movement, which is perhaps the largest, the most powerful separatist organization. I don't see a particular division there than the personality of Imran Khan. I don't think that rift would open because of it. And I'm not sure. I know that there have been attempts for centuries by the Americans and the Israelis and the British to expose and play on the Sunni-Shia divide. And often when we see terrorism, we have to consider who is actually really behind it. And there are those who wish to weaken Pakistan, but I don't think there would be a major split between Pashtun and others over the death of Imran Khan. I think that I think his appeal is, if you like, cross-ethnic. I think his appeal is very general in Pakistan.
In the recent context, Greg, if I may ask you, what the Iran is right next door, is neighbor of Pakistan, and the U.S. forces are now concentrating in the Strait of Hormuz for a possible attack on Iran. And under the circumstances, the Pakistani establishment, well, they're not hosting any U.S. military assets at the time being. I can confirm that. But what role can the Pakistani military establishment plays? I mean, traditionally they're aligned with the Washington, they're traditionally aligned with the Americans. So if they play a role over there, do you think it'll have a fallout, it'll have a fallback, or it'll have repercussions for the Pakistani establishment if they support the U.S. attack on Iran?
Well, I think there would be massive popular demonstrations against it. I think, again, they will try. I think the US and its allies will try to play the Sunni Shia card again in attacking Iran. Incidentally, in a book I wrote, Secunda Burns, about Alexander Burns and his explorations through Pakistan and Afghanistan, I discovered in the British Library documents from 1831 where British officers were writing to each other about how to divide the Sunni and the Shia in Sindh in 1831. So, as a deliberate policy of dividing Sunni and Shia in order to be able to impose imperialism. And that game still continues today. And it's a game they will play on heavily in attempting to reduce public sympathy for Iran. But let me say something controversial, and I don't expect this to happen. But if I were in charge of Pakistan and I could do one thing to help the world, I would ship 6 nuclear weapons to Iran to deter the Israelis and the Americans from attacking them.
Well, that's a bone of contention, Craig, because as per our information, the Saudis are saying that, and in the 60-minute interview of Prince Mohammed bin Salman openly said that if Iran goes nuclear, we'll also go nuclear the very same day. So at the end of the day, Iranian nuclear, development is the serious bone of contention over here. And not only Israel, but the Saudis are also on board with the Americans. They want the Americans to stop Iran there. So it's a question again of what you've just pointed out, the Sunni-Shia divide, which was successfully created in the Middle East to rule. So divide and rule is still the name of the game. It's quite obvious. Do you think I'm right?
No, I think you're absolutely right. And of course, the elephant in the room, which nobody in the West ever says, is that Israel has a huge amount of nuclear weapons, absolutely illegally, and it's always ignored entirely in these discussions. And in a situation where Israel has nuclear weapons, I don't blame any country. I mean, mutually assured destruction is a terrible way to go. I would love to see disarmament. But while Israel has nuclear weapons, I think any Muslim country in the region has a perfect right to also have nuclear weapons. But it's also very interesting that MBS said that Saudi Arabia would get nuclear weapons the next day, because we don't see headlines in the West saying Saudi Arabia 1 day away from obtaining nuclear weapons.
Yeah, but it is a fact. I mean, they've been funding the Pakistani nuclear program over decades for the same reason, that they needed to have their own independent program. And the claims by Prince Mohammed bin Salman suggest that they're very much there. And you're right. The global media is silent about it, but I'll come to that later. Matt, you are organizing this very great street movement here in the UK, and I'm sure it's going to gain momentum because people in the UK, they love Imran Khan, not only the British Pakistani community, but South Asian community. The Indians are coming out openly. The cricketing world has come out openly in support of Imran Khan. So I'm sure you're going to get a lot of traction there. But what is your message to the people in Pakistan who are now faced with the possible alleged assassination of Imran Khan, the way his sister himself said that he is being poisoned? But we see the party of Imran Khan who are sitting in the parliaments, gaining all the perks and privileges of power, not coming out in support of Imran Khan. Today, Imran Khan's sister were again there outside the jail. They were not allowed to meet Imran Khan. There were barriers in between. And this is the video coming in, which I'm going to show you right now, where Imran Khan's sister, Noreen Niazi, whose own son is also incarcerated illegally in Pakistan, fell in a ditch. Have a look at this.
Oh, ya Allah!
Under these circumstances, what is your advice and your message to the Pakistani people and the leadership of Imran Khan's political party, which is trying to make this huge, street movement, youngsters movement, but they're still, asking for more and more and more time for another 4 weeks, but we need it now, right now. What's your message, Matt?
I fully agree. It's needed now. Can't delay. This is the moment. A lot of people have been worried about this, but it has been extra attention and passion coming out because of the condition of his eye. I mean, this is the type of inevitable health failures that happen in prolonged solitary confinement. We saw it with Assange. He had a stroke. There we go. The lights are off. And, they're turning the lights off in Imran's cell for 10 days at a time. This is horrific. This is psychological torture. This is the most popular politician of a country being tortured. This is an illegitimate government. And Imran from all reports, seems that he's being offered deals. If he only cared about himself and his freedom, it seems clear that he could take a deal and flee to wherever and live a peaceful, great life with his family, with his children, right? Like Assange, he will not bend. Okay, and maybe the current leadership, illegitimate, of Pakistan don't understand that, because they're not like him. We tend to think other people in the world are like us. Maybe they expect him to take a deal. They keep torturing him. He won't. It's very, he's not like the other people. He's a special person. Like Assange, he will not bend. He will break before he bends. So that means what? That means that his freedom and Pakistan's freedom are in the hands of the people now. You have to save him. It is entirely on you. He's put himself in your hands. There is a great film about Assange called The Trust Fall, which was very well named because the director realized what Julian has done is trusted that people will catch him, that democracy, the collective will of the people will prevail. And Imran is doing the same thing. He is not taking a deal because he believes in the power of the people to free him. So what does that mean? It means you organize now, you work together now, leave the excuses and everything else, and peacefully but effectively organize. There's a variety of ways to do this, and you just need to get together, but don't delay. Just make decisions, whether it's sit-ins. I believe there's one outside the Supreme Court right now that's very good. There's been street blockages. I believe these type of civil disobediences are necessary and have worked in the past in other revolutions. So it's not about violence at all, but it's about applying significant, ongoing, unrelenting pressure in an organized fashion. So unite with others, and there's a hashtag come to streets for Khan. I believe that's a good one to follow. So collective organizing, civil disobedience. We've talked about doing human chain around the prison. I think that's a nice action. We talked about doing that for Assange. I think we should do that for Imran Khan. It would take 3,000 people. That's very achievable. That could be arranged in a couple of weeks. But I think, as you say, it needs to happen right now. So join the sit-ins outside the Supreme Court, find out who is organizing and join, and just do it now. Don't delay. This is the moment. You can't allow it to get any worse. We have a world champion bowler losing his eyesight, as well as the most popular politician. This is horrific. We don't want to ask how much worse it can get. Now is the time to free him and to apply all the pressure. No fear. What more do you need to be challenged by if you are consenting to being ruled by tyranny? So it's time to act. It's just time to go to the streets for Khan.
So, you're right. It's time to act now. Now is the time to act. Craig, do you think Imran Khan should take a deal and live to fight another day?
I think ultimately, of course, it depends on the deal, is the answer to that. But we did actually go through exactly this with Julian Assange, who eventually took a plea deal and pled guilty to, I can't remember what he pled guilty for, because it's not actually important, because nobody believed it anyway. Everyone realized that he just had to make this deal in order to get out. Nobody actually thought he was guilty of anything. I must say, I personally, spoke with Julian, urged him to take the deal for the sake of his wife and his family, because otherwise he would die in jail. And I think, personally, Imran, of course, is a man of great principle, but I would, any deal which is not unconscionable, I think he should take to get out, because I think the world needs him outside. I think he still has work to do. I would also like to make one point. I'm here in Venezuela at the moment, where the Americans have kidnapped and imprisoned President Maduro. And that's, again, another leader, another democratically elected leader of a country being imprisoned at the behest of the United States. In my view, the circumstances are different in that Maduro is being taken to the United States. But in my view, both Maduro and Imran Khan are examples of leaders who stood against the United States, who have been imprisoned by the United States. And I think that's extremely important. And I'm here actually at the moment in order to help the campaign to free Nicolas Maduro.
Craig, couple of quick questions before I let you go. Firstly, what do you make out of the inflammatory remarks by the U.S. ambassador to Israel, Mike Huckabee, to Tucker Carlson regarding the Greater Israel Project? What do you make out of it?
Well, I think we've been ignoring the Greater Israel Project far too long. Last year, I was in Lebanon. I spent 6 months altogether in Lebanon. And I watched, I saw the Israelis annex parts of southern Lebanon, which they seem to have no intention of ever leaving. They've annexed parts of southern Syria, and they now have a puppet regime, another American puppet regime in place in Syria, which is doing American and Israeli wishes, and which seems to be showing no interest at all in reclaiming the southern Syria that's been annexed by Israel in the last 2 years. So I think we are seeing Greater Israel happen. With Gaza, obviously, we know they are taking over. They are taking over more and more of the West Bank. It's Lebanon, it's Syria, and it will continue to expand. I think there's no doubt at all. He's said the quiet part out loud. He has revealed their agenda. And unfortunately, it also shows, unfortunately, that the power of the Christian fanatics, the fundamentalist Christian fanatics in the United States of America, who have these mad views because of religion and who are prepared to cause turmoil and death on a massive scale because they believe it's their religious duty to do so. And it's very difficult when you have somebody who's a complete religious fanatic. How do you argue with them? It's very, very difficult to reason or talk sense into these people.
Final question, Craig, before I let you go. There are efforts, confirmed reports. I've been reporting upon it for 2 years now, that Prince Mohammed bin Salman wants the Pakistani military regime to lower the political temperature in Pakistan and maybe free Imran Khan or relax his conditions of his incarceration. But the Pakistani regime, they're not doing it. So do you believe that Prince Mohammed bin Salman or the monarchies in Arab world are serious about providing relief to Imran Khan, or it is just a popularity stunt?
I think it can be a bit of each. I think Imran Khan, of course, has a tremendous international cachet and extremely extended personal connections throughout the world. So there'll be personal friends of his, who are friends of MBS, undoubtedly. And I think to some extent there's a feeling, well, he may be a troublemaker or difficult from our point of view, but he is one of us at the end of the day. He's one of the elite. And maybe also they don't like to see leaders being killed, because that, of course, is a fate that may await them at some stage in the future. So there may be a little bit of genuine humanitarian concern. There may be a feeling that this is going to cause a huge amount of trouble and crisis throughout the Muslim world, and discontent if Imran Khan is killed, and that may affect me and my stability at home. And there may just be some popularity seeking. I think there's there's a confluence of motives there, but I don't think we should think that he's serious about it. I see no evidence that he's putting serious pressure on the government of Pakistan at all.
Thank you very much, Craig Murray. Thank you very much, Matthew Brennan, for joining us, for joining this fight for freedom for Pakistan. And the world is interconnected. Craig is joining us from Venezuela. Matt is joining us from Wales. And I'm here in London. And we are working all together for the same cause, for the cause of human rights and for fighting for humanity. Because at the end of the day, if there is no humanity left, then what is there to live for? Thank you so very much, gentlemen. Thank you.
Thank you.